In recent days, former U.S. President Donald Trump has drawn international attention following comments linking his foreign policy stance on Greenland to his disappointment over not receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. The remarks have prompted diplomatic responses from European leaders and renewed debate over U.S. strategic interests in the Arctic. This report breaks down what was said, what is confirmed by official sources, why Greenland matters geopolitically, and how these developments fit into the broader context of Trump's first year back in office. The 2025 Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, recognized by the Nobel Committee for her role in advocating democratic reform in Venezuela. Following the announcement, President Trump publicly expressed frustration, stating that he believed his actions in global conflict mediation deserved recognition. According to European officials cited by multiple news outlets, Trump later referenced the Nobel decision in a message to Norway's prime minister, suggesting that the outcome influenced his view of international diplomacy. It is important to note that the Nobel Peace Prize is awarded by an independent committee appointed by the Norwegian parliament, not by the Norwegian government itself. Officials in Norway have emphasized that political leaders have no authority over the selection process. Machado later presented her Nobel medal to Trump as a symbolic gesture. However, the Nobel Committee clarified that the prize itself is non-transferable and remains officially awarded only to the recipient named by the committee. At the center of the controversy is Greenland, an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. Greenland has its own government, while Denmark retains responsibility for defense and foreign affairs. The United States has long maintained a strategic presence in Greenland, including military installations operated under agreements with Denmark. Analysts widely agree that Greenland's geographic position in the Arctic makes it strategically significant for missile defense, early warning systems, and Arctic security. Interest in the Arctic has increased in recent years due to climate change, which is opening new shipping routes and increasing access to natural resources. As a result, the region has become an area of growing competition among major powers, including the United States, Russia, and China. President Trump recently stated that U.S. security interests would be better served through ownership rather than cooperation agreements, arguing that long-term control would allow for stronger defense and development of the region. He also suggested that current arrangements were insufficient and that full ownership would provide greater legal and psychological certainty in defending the territory. These remarks were met with immediate responses from Danish and Greenlandic leaders, who reiterated that Greenland is not for sale and that its future will be determined by its people. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Trump clarified that he was not pursuing military action, but continued to advocate for increased U.S. influence in Greenland through economic and strategic means. European leaders, including officials from Denmark and France, pushed back against the framing of the issue. They emphasized respect for sovereignty, international law, and alliance commitments within NATO. Several governments also reiterated that the Arctic security challenges are already addressed through existing treaties and cooperation frameworks. Analysts note that these agreements allow the U.S. to operate strategically in Greenland without altering its legal status. Reports also indicate that Trump raised the possibility of tariffs on certain NATO countries amid broader trade negotiations. Economists warn that such measures, if implemented, could affect transatlantic trade relations and introduce additional economic uncertainty. Public opinion in Greenland has largely been critical of any suggestion that the territory could be purchased or transferred. Demonstrations in both Greenland and Denmark have emphasized self-determination and local governance. Greenlandic officials have repeatedly stated that economic development and international cooperation are welcome, but sovereignty and political autonomy are not negotiable. These developments come as Trump marked 1 year since returning to office.
During this period, he has frequently highlighted what he describes as major accomplishments in economic policy, national security, and government restructuring. Supporters argue that his direct approach signals strength and clarity in foreign policy. Critics, however, suggest that personalized rhetoric and public disputes with allies risk undermining diplomatic stability. Data from labor and economic agencies show mixed results during the first year, with certain sectors experiencing growth while others face continued challenges tied to inflation, global trade tensions, and supply chain adjustments. Experts broadly agree on several points. Greenland is strategically important, but existing agreements already provide the U.S. with significant access and security cooperation. Ownership of Allied territory is inconsistent with modern international norms. Linking diplomatic posture to symbolic awards risks complicating alliances. Arctic competition is real, but it is currently managed through treaties rather than territorial claims. Most analysts consider a transfer of sovereignty highly unlikely under international law and current political realities. The controversy surrounding the Nobel Peace Prize and Greenland highlights the intersection of personal political narratives, global diplomacy, and strategic competition in the Arctic. While the United States remains deeply invested in Greenland's security and stability, the episode underscores the limits imposed by international law, alliance structures, and local self-determination. As global attention on the Arctic continues to grow, future developments will likely depend less on rhetoric and more on sustained diplomatic engagement among allied nations.